grandchildren. Well, all she knew was that her grandfather passed and she owned some properties, and that wholesaler was going to help her to sell the properties off. Wholesaler did give me contact information for the seller. She was a young girl, had just inherited properties that she essentially didn't want. Great. So the way we ended up doing this was, number one, I had to learn about liens. So I learned that some liens follow the house, other liens follow the person. Then I had to reach out to the probate attorney who handled the case to get all of the paperwork that was related to this property. Thank God the attorney did send it over. I just sent over our purchase agreement and proof, hey, I'm buying this house, which was happening. And in that paperwork, we found a mortgage release that the biggest lien on the property had been paid off. The release had just never been filed. So I'm like, oh, thank God. Then we found out that another lien that was on it follows the person, not the house. So I know this information, right? So now I call the seller and I'm like, look, I was supposed to buy your house. It came back with $80,000 worth of lien. So if you still want me to close, you got to come up with this $80K. I don't have it. She's like, I don't have it. I'm in college. I didn't even want these houses. I'm all the way in Miami. I don't know what to do either. So I was like, look, you can go ahead and we can do a self-close. I had to quickly learn how to do that. So I think I just bought somebody's course real quick. And I also bought a course on sub 2, right? So I was like, just deed the house over to me. We can just do a quick claim and I'll be responsible for the liens. But I can't pay you any money for this house. You technically owe me. And she was like, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. I would never have, gotten to a transaction. Had I known that, I wasn't being malicious. I just didn't know. Yes, here, I'll sign the house over to you. Take it. So if you're connecting the dots here, very quickly, number one, I learned that I could self-close since the title company didn't want to, that I can take over those liens subject to, and that most of those liens, all of the liens actually ended up being taken off because it was just a release for a mortgage that wasn't filed, and it was a lien that followed the person, not the house. So once she deeded that property over to me, I owned the house, free and clear, paid $0 for it, and all the liens were released. I did have the 25K in that got it Section 8 ready. But I was like, wait a minute, what, did I just make something up? I literally thought I made up subject to until I bought the course after, and I realized it already existed. But I thought I made it up. I was like, I'm gonna buy every house like this. I'll just buy every house that has a bunch of these types of liens on it, and I'll figure it out and get a whole bunch of houses for $0. Anyway, she called back and she was like, hey, Ashley, I just found out I actually have another property and it's probably in the same situation. It's probably gonna have liens and stuff on it. I just thought I'd give it a shot and call you to see if you were willing to take that one on too. I don't want to put too much on you, but if you can, it will really help me out. So by this time, I saw how well that first house did. I was like, oh, I don't know, girl, you're asking a lot. I was like, I'm not going to be able to pay you anything for it. She was like, no, I know. If you could just take the liens like you did last time, like, I'm good. I was like, all right, I guess I can do it. But I realized I was like, yes. So a week later, got that property too for $0. That one was in better condition. Also needed still about 25K to get it ready. Got it for $0. That was my very first buy and hold real life, like real estate investing transaction. I got 2 properties for $0, subject to liens that I knew how to release, put in some money in cash to get it rehabbed. So I own those 2 houses free and clear still to this day. And Section 8, think about it. I got the houses for $0. We'll do the first house, $0. I put 25K in, so I'm all in at 25K. And Section 8 was paying me $13.50 a month for that house. I've had that house for 7 years. So you can do the math, 12 times 7, and then that number times $13.50. There's no mortgage, right? So I'm only just paying myself back for the 25K that I invested in the rehab, and taxes and insurance, which is not much on a house that's that inexpensive. So, and then of course the second house as well. That one I think only got $1,200 a month from Section 8, but also got it for $0. Only the money that I invested in the rehab was what I paid myself back. And same for 7 years, $1,200. You can do the math there, and it's still making me money to this day. So I say that to say that was my worst real estate investment experience, but it also ended up being my best real estate investment experience. And this is why I tell people embrace failure, okay? That failure taught me so much that it opened my eyes up to an entirely other niche of real estate, which is how I got so good at subject to mortgage takeovers, owner financing, taking over liens. If that had not happened, I would not have been forced to learn how to do it. So listen, embrace those failures. But my biggest failure became my biggest win, and I am still winning on those properties to this day. All right, y'all. If you like what you saw here and want to learn more, there is a link in the description. Please like and subscribe, by the way. But the link in the description is just going to give you like this really inexpensive class on the 5 steps to invest in Section 8, just so you have some background knowledge. That way, when you're watching people like me or other people you're following, and we're speaking about like higher order concepts, you have the foundation, a knowledge base so that you can keep up